Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, it's Goosebreeder here. I am going to be doing an AMA video with a twist. I'm gonna be making some breakfast. Today I'm gonna be making a French toast and maybe some like eggs, fruits, stuff like that. We'll kind of just see what I feel like eating as I'm making it too. I'm gonna show you how I'm making it, but I'll also be answering some questions that you guys have picked out. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I have my ingredients down here. I have whole wheat bread, just because it doesn't really taste much different and it's typically better for you. I also have some Oatly, some oat milk to use with my French toast eggs, and I might do 2 eggs, I might just do 1. I'm not sure yet. I usually cook for John and I when I make breakfast, so I'll probably only need something like 1 egg. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. I've pulled up some questions. First question is, what is the first app/website you open when you turn on the PC? So when I typically open my computer, I'm usually opening something like Twitter, YouTube. I spend a lot of time just watching random stuff on YouTube, and then I end up being confused as to why I have the most random recommendations, and then I click them anyway. Next question is, how many times does Bailey wake you up during the night? Bailey doesn't actually wake me up that often. So I'm trying to get this egg open. Bailey doesn't wake me up that often, but she actually did wake me up the other night. She was just making like mouth clapping noises for like 5 minutes, like half asleep. She was just going, and it was so loud and it woke me up. So she usually doesn't wake me up. Sometimes she's like itching herself like a little aggressively and that wakes me up, but usually she doesn't wake me up that often. Next question, as you rarely speak French, aren't you afraid to lose it? I'm not afraid to lose it. I'm not sure how loud this whisking will be, so I'm just gonna give it a second. I'm not afraid to lose it. I do actually get to practice a little bit of French. I do have friends who are French in like a friend group, and actually just hearing them speak French a little bit and interacting in French a little bit is enough to like keep my memory jogged. Sometimes I'll forget certain words, but I'm not too afraid to lose it. But it did get worse for like a couple years. My French got a little bit worse, and then it got like good again after I was using it for a bit. If you hadn't been a pro player, what would you have done for work? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. If we're talking in the past, I didn't really have a good idea on what I wanted to do. To be honest, I was thinking maybe something like computer related, maybe some coding, I don't know. I had no idea what I wanted to do, to be honest with you. But as for now, I don't know what I would do. I would definitely stay in the esports industry. I definitely have always loved games since I was just like a kid. I've been playing them forever, and I just don't know what else I would enjoy enough to make it like my career. But yeah, I'm really happy with what I'm doing right now, and for one day, if I do retire, we'll have to figure out what I do then. But I would probably like to stay in esports, maybe do casting, maybe do analyst type work. Who knows, maybe even coaching. I think with the time I've like invested in the game, I'll probably have pretty good knowledge by the time I decide to retire, whenever that is. I don't know, I'd have to go back to school for anything else, so I'd probably rather just start with esports. That's a good question though. How much time do you spend thinking, planning, and playing CS in an average week? So I don't really know exactly what hour I would give that. By the way, I'm gonna be putting some vanilla extract in my French toast. I'm also going to be adding cinnamon and then a little bit of cinnamon sugar just to give it a little bit of sweetness, but I'll put mainly cinnamon and then I'll just do a little bit. So yeah, I don't actually have like a solid number that I can give you. I mean, it just depends on the week. So if we're going over like a new map, for example, this season I recently picked up the IGL role, and because of that I had to spend even more time. So even before I IGL'd, I did spend a lot of time reviewing demos, but the difference is I would spend it in my own positioning, And sometimes I would spend it with like just specking the people around me so that I could like lead them, the people in my bomb site properly and know what we're supposed to be doing. I'm just gonna mix this up real quick so I don't have to talk over it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I definitely ended up spending more time on like demos once I started IGLing. It's hard to say how many hours a day, so we typically will be practicing like 4, sometimes 5 hours. It depends on the day, what we're doing and stuff. Like a day, that's like our typical schedule. We start late because we don't have a lot of practice in the earlier days, so because of that, we can't go for like longer, take breaks in between. It doesn't really make sense with like the hours we spend. So because of that, we spend about 4 or 5 hours a day. Usually we just do it straight with like 5 minutes in between each like scrim or between like server time. So we spend that typically just on practice. I would say that I spend at least an hour, but usually like 2 prepping ahead of time for CS, whether that's death matching, whether that's watching a demo, sometimes practicing utility. It just depends what I think I need that day. If I'm feeling very comfortable with my mechanics, but I feel a little bit uncomfortable in terms of like answers, strategies, solutions, stuff like that, then I would spend more time in demos. If like John's free, sometimes he'll help me too. He does help me a lot of the time actually if I'm stuck and I don't know an answer to something. But usually I just go searching through demos to try and find like answers to the problems I have, or seeing like what the meta is, stuff like that. I guess if I had to give that a number, I have no idea, honestly. I would say I spend probably at least 8 hours a day with CS. Honestly, like if I'm really grinding CS, I usually don't have much time to do like free time stuff, like things that are fun outside of CS. For example, pugging with friends is something that's like fun to me, but what's like necessary is like, okay, I have to watch like a demo because our map, like say Dust 2 was weak for us at a certain point because people started picking it against us. And with the time we spent on our team, we didn't have enough time to go over every map. So I had to pretty much crunch Dust 2 in like a few days, literally a day or two, honestly. I think it was like one night or 2, I don't even remember. But basically I had to spend a lot of time in a short period of time just watching D2s. So like those types of days, I don't really have time to pug, do like much else. Like I'll eat dinner, I'll chill for like maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and then I'll try to be like productive. And then if I'm done like what I have to do, then I usually just like chill, have a little bit of fun if it's not too late. And that's like typically how I spend my week. Okay, so I'm gonna put some of the ingredients away since I'm done whisking the French toast mixture. I'm gonna actually cook it in a little bit. I'm gonna prep other stuff in the meantime, like the fruit I'm gonna eat while I'm answering questions, because I'm gonna have to move my setup over there. So I have some berries, or blueberries and strawberries. We love that. I really love strawberries. They're awesome. Okay, on to the next question. What was the most difficult situation as a pro player? So I don't really know exactly like what's the most difficult thing I've faced. I think there's a lot of different things that are difficult. I would say like working hard for like a long period of time is like not easy to sustain. I've managed to get to the point where I can, I think it's just a habit at this point, doing like things that aren't necessarily always fun. And because it's like a habit for me, I can do them more often. But I would say like working really hard for a long period of time, and then I think what makes it harder is if you're not seeing like immediate results for like the work you put in. We recently got relegated, which sucked, but it was a very difficult season for us because we the way the scheduling got posted, because we were like gone for LANs and stuff, we ended up getting seeded versus very like skilled teams. And because they were really skilled teams, obviously every match was very difficult. And I would say that like what's hard to deal with is when you're working really hard yet you still can't like beat a team or like see the results from it. And I think like the kind of stress that accumulates from something like that, I think it's hard to deal with and stay motivated and not be stressed out and let it affect like the rest of your gameplay. I'd say that's hard to deal with. I think like when I first joined CLG, that was difficult to deal with. I'm not gonna go too much into that because I already kind of spoke on that. In my, it was like a feature. It was a feature, Logitech did a feature on me, and it's, I'll post the link below, and that'll like kind of talk about just like the TLDR is like when you go up a division, when you join new teams, different struggles like you face, stuff like that. I go into more detail in that video, but I would say that's like one answer I could give you right now, is just like staying motivated when things aren't going your way. I think just like the whole female scene type stuff, like there is a lot of shit people give for various reasons, but I think it's difficult when if you're working really hard and you're giving it your all and you still don't get like, people still want to shit on you, they don't really know you, they don't know like what you've been doing, and it's understandable that unless people know what I do, they'll probably just assume that like maybe I just suck because I just cash checks or something like that. Or in reality, like CS is a very difficult game, and to be at the top level takes a lot of work, takes a lot of natural skill, and some people just don't have what it takes. Like, it is what it is. But you know, I try my best, and I think like I usually try to avoid reading like negative comments or even going on like, I can just tell when like there's gonna be a thread that I'm like, I'm not gonna bother reading that. Like, I'm not gonna gain anything from reading that. You know, I'm at the point where it doesn't bother me, but it's still annoying from time to time. So yeah, I would say that's also like a challenge, but it's not like my day-to-day challenge. I don't really focus on that. I usually just focus on the things I can control and just move on and do like what I can do. So I hope that answers your question. A couple different answers for you. How much progress do you feel like you've made as a competitive player throughout the past couple years? Do you feel like COVID had an effect on that? So I think I've made a lot of growth, honestly. Let me get a bowl to put these strawberries in for the time being. I think I've made a lot of growth as a player from when I first started to where I am now. I definitely have a mindset where I know I can improve, and I've proved to myself that I can improve. And it may have not been a huge change all at once, but over the years I've definitely gotten better, gotten smarter, better with my mechanics, whatever, you name it. I never played like CS besides like zombie mods, like stuff that just doesn't teach you the game whatsoever. So I started up in CSGO, and I was very not good. I was like Silver Elite Master. That was my rank when I first joined. And oops, I dropped the strawberry. Yeah, so I was pretty much really bad, like the TLDR. And I don't know, I just put a lot of effort. Improving like makes me feel really good about myself, and just like when I put hard work into something and I see the results, it's a really good feeling, and that's always what's driven me to be better and continue my efforts. So I think that I think I've just continuously improved, and I think I'm still improving now. I think just having like a mindset for growth is what makes the most difference. If you think you can't get better, then you're right. But I do think that there's a lot of room for me to improve, and I do have like a coach. I have, demos I can watch, and obviously my boyfriend John, who's a very talented and smart player, who also can help me if there's something I just really don't understand. So I do have like other friends too, like just people who understand the game better than I do, and resources that also can help me get better. So I do think that there's a lot of room for me to grow, and I think that people can be very giving with their time and efforts to help people, and I think that just having the right attitude to grow and learn is a really good way to develop, and I think that's what has helped me continuously get better throughout the years. In the current CLG, who is most likely to go for eco frags? So I would say right now we're pretty good with discipline. People don't throw like super often, I guess, on purpose, and that's how I would consider just like Ramboing around for eco frags. Like sometimes you end up throwing, you give the enemy a gun. No bueno, you don't want to do that. And I would say that like Emmy is probably the first person I think of when I think of someone going crazy for eco-frags, but I do think she's gotten a lot better with like that type of impulse control. Yeah, I think there's a time and a place to go around chasing for eco-frags, like if you have a MAC-10, whatever, but as long as you're not giving the enemy team an AK and they're mowing the rest of your teammates down because they got a free AK, then I think then yeah, that's somewhere that you can't do that. But I think Emmy's definitely like gotten better at doing that type of stuff, but I think she used to do that the most. I can't really think of anyone else, to be honest, at the moment. I think overall we're pretty decent with discipline. All right, we're figuring the setup out. Okay, I'm gonna get the rest. I have to move the setup and let's, you know, we're figuring out as we go because I don't have a super fancy setup, so. We're gonna bring the French toast over and we'll start cooking. Okay, I'm also gonna make some eggs. I'm not gonna do anything fancy. I like to just cook them slow. Sometimes I make scrambled, but honestly I've been really bored of scrambled, so I'm not gonna do scrambled right now. I think I'm gonna move the pans to avoid any spillage. Bailey's having fun with her toy, if you hear it in the background. So I'm just gonna get these pans a little bit warm before I start putting anything on it. Okay, I'm gonna just mix this up a little bit more because it's just been sitting for a second. Okay, so while this heats up, I will look over the next question. I'll crack an egg in a second once the pans heat up a bit more. Okay, so next question is there anyone who was really impactful on your growth as a player that you don't get the opportunity to talk about? It's hard to say. If I had to pick like one single person, I don't know. I've gotten a lot of help over the years from friends, just even little things. Even when I was a noob, I would like queue up with matchmake friends and they would give me some advice and then like, you know, that type of stuff. But I would say like in the last like little bit, I would say probably John has given me the most help in terms of bettering myself as a player. Not just like game stuff, but just like ways I can write my notes better, just literally anything. I think we both make each other better in a lot of ways, and I think that yeah, he helps me a lot, and that's probably the person I would pick if I would pick somebody who had the most impact on my growth. I think that like outside sources are very helpful, and then as an individual you have to apply that type of stuff and you have to put the work in. Next question is, what was it like when you realized you could play a game well enough to make money at it? I don't know, when I first went to like my first tournament, I just thought it was really awesome. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I realized like I could probably try to keep getting better until like I saw some success out of it. And these pans are probably gonna start getting hot enough. So I'm just gonna move this whisk. Yeah, I don't know, it was a while ago. I mean, I was like grinding this game for a long time, and it's just definitely nice to be able to make some money from it, but I mean, I mean, the money's nice for sure, but it's, I don't know, we're just gonna skip that question. It's been so long, I don't even know how to answer that. Okay, so we're putting the French toast in. I'm gonna turn up the heat in a second. I'm just gonna wash my hands so that they're not gross. How do you stay motivated to keep playing? What motivates me the most is watching my growth and knowing that the work I'm putting in is doing something. I think just playing well is a really good motivator for me, and I know that if I work hard, then I will play well sooner or later. I'll get better at the roles I play, etc. So that's like my main motivator. Yeah, I'm just like a very competitive person, and like feeling good at something is what's the most rewarding for me. And like working towards being the best at something or working towards achieving something great, I still have like high aspirations, and that's what drives me a lot. And then the little like day in and day out stuff is typically what drives me, is like I said, watching myself get better and feeling like I'm closer towards like my goal. Can we get more pictures of Bailey? Of course. You can also follow her Instagram. It's Bailey the Golden Floof. We'll put it somewhere so you can see it in the description or in the video. Any tips, things to load on your phone before going to LAN? I would say music. I like to download like Spotify playlists before I get on the plane. That way I can jam out, like kill some time. I don't really watch like movies on iPads or laptops. I don't know, I usually just try to sleep. And the one time I actually was like trying to watch stuff instead of sleeping, I didn't sleep for like the whole plane ride. I had like the biggest headache. I like hated my life. So I usually just sleep on planes and stuff. But when you're like in a hotel room or something, it's nice to have like movies or I would say download demos ahead of time. If you plan on watching them, I would say prep that kind of stuff early. If you're going to compete, it's definitely better to do that ahead of time. You don't know what kind of Wi-Fi you're gonna have wherever you're traveling. Yeah, so I would probably get all that like reliable type stuff at home when you know you can download it, when you can prep and stuff like that. Okay, let's get the heat a little bit higher now for the French toast. And the eggs I'm gonna keep cooking. Oh, shoot, I didn't even have it on the right spot. I'm such a noob. I was like, dude, these eggs aren't even cooking at all. I had it on the wrong spot for a second. I usually don't cook with this top left spot, so I didn't think to even use the right one. But yeah, so we got it cooking. We basically just have to wait for this to cook. Then I'm probably gonna try to get the most out of this yolk. Maybe make a couple more. Then I'm gonna get the fruit. I like to actually put some Nutella in, like, I like to like dip it or put it on my French toast or have it with my bananas. I'm a big fan of bananas and strawberries, so we're just gonna get that going in too. And then we have some maple syrup for later that we'll grab out. Okay, so next question. In your video where we can hear comms from practice and such, you say something like reset. What exactly does this mean, and what other words of that kind, single word to replace a full sentence to make a communication easier, do you have? So first we'll explain what reset means to me and my team. So the way I use reset is in a few situations, one of them being when it's chaotic. So a lot of things that can happen, usually a lot of things can go wrong when it's chaotic if you don't have a plan or people just are all over the place. And I like to try to use those moments where I feel like we're losing control of the round to say reset. And what that typically means is like, depending on what's going on, it usually just means like take a second, like breathe, hold your angle, avoid getting like pushed. So hold your spot, wait for pushes, and just like relax for a second while you wait for the next comm to be made. Or it can also allow other players to speak in this moment. So we'll slow down and I'll like ask a question or like where did you get that kill? Like let's say it's a 5v3, okay? Let's say chaos happens, 5v3, but the picks happen like across like each sides of the map. So that means like it's typically harder to capitalize on picks when they're not clumped together. You don't want to like rush and split up and lose your advantage. So typically I would say like reset in like a 5v3 where we can't capitalize on picks. And then my teammates would be holding, we'd be playing for any pushes. Like if you're top banana, you would be having an anti-flash player, you'd have a guy holding. It basically means like play for pushes, like try not to get caught off guard. And then aside from that, I would say I usually just formulate like a game plan. If I need to ask like any questions to help with this, like do they still have mollies on B, Mirage? Do they still have util on B, Inferno? These are just examples. If I need to ask questions to make a game plan, then I'll do that. Aside from that, we usually just keep holding until we have like a good idea, and then we just go together somewhere. And then at the same time, like you'll typically even find kills in these scenarios because CTs will get antsy. So it's a good way to make CTs get antsy and give you the round for free, which just happens a lot. And that's why you want to like take your time in those scenarios. There's a lot of different scenarios too. Let's say you're hitting a site and there's just a lot of chaos. People aren't set up right in post plans. Sometimes I'll say like reset. Even in one of my recent videos, we were just like flying up lane and Moto wasn't smoked, and I told everybody to chill, which is the same thing pretty much. Wait for like my Moto smoke to land, and then okay, let's continue to gain space together. So it just means like everybody chill, take a breath, and then we'll carry on with like a plan pretty much. Aside from that, on the fly, I can't really think of, I guess we have words for like simple words to identify what kind of strat I want to hit. Like let's say I want to do contact, pop, we have something, we'll make a comm like I stole this from John, we call it flying smokes, and what it means is like you're running into the site with the smokes flying over. So what that basically means is the team's going in with the flashes as the util comes over. And you would use this in a scenario, for example, Inferno B. Oh my god, my pen is just spinning around. Let's say it's Inferno B, right? Let's say B players have a butt ton of utility, and you, for some reason, you kind of need to end B, or you're not getting a lot of answers on A. You could call flying smokes like B, and basically you would already discuss how you would entry. Your team should already have that figured out, and then you would execute it. And the goal is that you're not giving the CTs time to counter util because you're in their face already, and it's surprising. So that's like a time that you could call flying smokes. So there's ways to call like strats or concepts. They're not specifically a set strat. It's not like flying smokes always means this, but it typically is like a general idea or concept, and you can use it on like any map. So it's not like flying smokes can't be used on Mirage or whatever. Like you can use it on any map, and that's like a way you can use like simple words to explain something larger to save you time, clear comms, etc. Okay, the food's almost done. If all of CLG was locked in a box till one of you was left alive, who would walk out and why? I have no idea. Honestly, it's a coin toss. I would say, you know, Kelsey's kind of a wild card. I don't know what to expect from her right now. I feel like Emmy is someone like we have to protect. But you know, maybe she has like a wild card in her and she would just like own everyone else. I would say it would probably come down to like myself, Diane, Yuli. And it just like, it's whoever's feeling crazier that day, really. It could be anybody. But I don't know. I'm not really like, you know, I don't like to fight people if I don't have to, so I'm kind of passive in that way. So I would probably avoid being stuck in a box to begin with. But yeah, I guess that to answer your question. Okay, we're gonna get it plated, which means I'm gonna grab this banana over here. It's got tape on it for some reason. I like to just have a trash pile because it just makes life a little bit easier, doesn't it? Okay. All right. We're gonna start plating. I have enough for a little bit more French toast, so I'll probably make like one more slice. Maybe if I have extra, I'll just like see if one of my teammates wants some. I like to do a little bit of tidy up like when I'm actually cooking, like in between things. Like for example, I flipped my egg and I got some more French toast cooking, and I'm just gonna put this bread away in the meantime. Makes cleanup a little bit easier. The egg is pretty much almost done, so I'm just gonna lower the heat. I'm gonna cut this banana up, and then pretty much almost done at this point. And yeah, those are pretty much all the questions. So we're just gonna finish up plating here. I'm gonna show you how I like to eat my breakfast. If I want something yummy, I usually go with something like this. It's my vibe. I actually forgot to butter the pan, which I think makes it better, but I think my battery is actually dying. So I'm gonna stop recording for a second and record again when I have everything plated up. All right, guys, pretty much done here. I forgot to grab some maple syrup, so we're gonna be wrapping it up. I hope you guys liked this video. I don't know, I just felt like doing this on the fly, if it was fun, if you want to see similar stuff or anything you want me to make that you feel like would be interesting or you want my perspective on, feel free to write that in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll get you the final little look of the brekkie. So I actually am gonna cut this up, but aside from that, it's typically what I do. I have a lot of extra berries here, so I'm gonna save this and make a parfait later, which is just, I'm just gonna put yogurt and granola, stuff like that underneath. But yeah, here's the breakfast. I should have buttered the French toast, but I forgot, so oh well. And I like to have it in these little things to dip it in, so. Yeah, I hope you guys liked the video, and see you next time. Bye.